Hello, everyone. I wanted to talk about the concept of quitting while you're ahead, while you're writing. Like, for example, today, I allowed myself 2 hours to write. Now, quite often during a day, I'll allow myself either 2 hours or 1 hour to write. If I'm not particularly busy or I'm not doing a whole lot, I'll allot 2 hours. If I'm pressed for time, I'll schedule one. So it's usually between 1 and 2 hours. And but today I actually wrote more than I normally do in 2 hours in just a little over an hour. But even though I technically have 45 minutes left of writing time, I decided to quit early today because I'm at a play. I ended on a high note, the last thing that I wrote. But what I have to write next, it's a passage that will probably take more than 45 minutes to get right. And I don't want to get into a situation where I rush something, I'm not satisfied with it, and then I spend the rest of my evening trying to think of ways to fix it. And that's probably what would happen if I continue to write. Not guaranteed, it could turn out fine, but more often than not, when I attempt it, that's what happens. If I'm writing a passage that I know is going to be difficult, where I don't have enough time, normally it ends up being rushed, and then I spend the entire evening thinking about ways to fix it. And then finally, I'll either try to fix it that night or earlier the next day. And this way is much more pleasant. I like quitting on a high note while I'm ahead, especially if I already wrote quite a lot and I still have extra time. When that happens, I don't really feel particularly guilty when I do it. So my advice would be try to quit while you're ahead, because to me, I use up to 2 hours. It's not that I have to utilize the 2 hours. It's just that now, if I'm struggling with a particular passage, I will use the 2 hours in order to get it right, or even go a little over that. But I don't have to. So my advice would be, if you like the last thing you wrote, it's better to end on a high note than continue writing, because you risk then being dissatisfied, which could then ruin your day. So that would be my advice. Try to quit while you're ahead.